All right, guys, check it out. I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't share my story. So, as y'all know, I train clients. I go on the road. I travel, and same spot. A few years ago, I shared a story about when a guy was stealing stuff out of my car. I was down there this morning training my client. The story is why we need to put our safety in our own hands, right? And no disrespect to law enforcement's response time and stuff. They got a lot of stuff going on out there. I got all the utmost respect for our first responders, but in situations that happen sometimes like that, we've got to be ready to act decisively, and be able to take care of ourselves. So this morning, training my client down at the park, Peters Park in Boston. It's right around the corner from the Pine Street Inn. It's a mixed area with very high level properties and people that do well, along with, yes, people with substance use issues and homelessness. So I'm out there training my client on the basketball court, and mind you, about 50, 60 feet away is the sidewalk, and there's like these little like square kind of like garden protector like panels, these little like gates, if you will. And there was a couple of addicts walking around screaming in the morning and stuff, and one happened to walk by the park and was staring at us and screaming in our direction. At that point, I'm training my client in front of me, and he's doing his workouts. I have to kind of keep my eyes out of the corner of my eye on the guy, and he's talking. Next thing you know, I see him start grabbing those grates, and he's flinging them. And I'm, hey, watch out, my client, get him out of the way. And he's throwing them out onto the court. He's throwing at us, and he's talking a lot of trash. When that didn't get any kind of feedback from him, you know what I'm saying, he started coming towards us, towards the park. At that point, versus me deciding whether or not I wanted to actually engage with this guy physically, I was like, just see if I get on the phone with the police, with 911, that will thwart him off. Now, mind you, there's a little wall here, and I'll set my keys down and stuff like that. And there's a water bottle there, my client's stuff. I got my speaker playing music, and then we're about 5 feet from that. And he comes right up to that. And in his own right, he's looking for whatever he can take. Yeah, and I'm telling the guy, hey, don't do it. He's still throwing grates here and there. And I go over and I grab my keys real quick, because he's not taking my keys, right? I got my phone on me. And now at this time, I've got, dispatchers on, and I'm explaining them what's going on. My client's giving me the address. She's trying to remember the address here. I'm telling her Peters Park. She's asked me to do it. And this guy is 10 feet in front of my face, between 5 to 10 feet, really. I'm trying to keep enough distance between him and I. And I'm trying to describe her to him, and he's still talking trash to me and, trying to get, something out of him. He's trying to get fear, right? What I did is I looked at him and I said, look me in the eyes. Man, don't do it. He's like, I'm not scared of you. I said, I know you're not, but understand this. Look me in the eyes and know what you're looking at. You know that you shouldn't be doing this. You know this is not a good idea, right? I made him look in my eyes, because he knew at that moment it wasn't the right person. He goes, take his jacket. I'm not scared of you. I said, I know you're not, but it's not a smart idea. And he puts it right back on. Again, he's looking around at our stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to describe to the lady what's going on, who he is. And she's getting mad at me, telling me, don't look at him, don't talk to him, talk to me. I'm like, ma'am, he's right in front of me. Imagine this being someone having you at gunpoint, or someone that's actually trying to hurt you, right? If you were a little bit less able to defend yourself, or a less formidable looking force in front of this person, the courage you might have while you're still on the phone trying to hopefully make yourself safe, right? With police on the way. So finally I describe her to all the guy, and he starts to walk off. He grabs my client's water bottle, and I'm not going to let him just walk off. I'm keeping all our stuff. I was like, I'm going to get that back too. Don't take it with you. So he throws it on the ground, and he's walking off. And I'm walking out to keep an eye on him. And this guy's just walking down the street now, checking, doors and pulling on door handles and checking cars. And he has no absolute fear of anything going on. Like anybody arresting him, anybody getting him. Okay, this lady hung up on me already. Cops are on the way. Right? This guy, I watch him leave. He goes off into the distance. Our crisis has been averted. Why? Because the one piece of sanity or sobriety in his mind, the rationale he had with our initial contact and taking a stand, and him able to look at me and assess the fact that it wasn't worth his time. Let's move on to a weaker, more meek, target, is what he understood in his mind. And I know that for a fact, because I've looked many men in the eyes, but I've had to actually engage in combative sports with them, right? So 15 minutes later, the cops show up. No sirens, no nothing. They show up. Obviously, I wasn't telling her it was an emergency, but I was like, look, he's gonna go find an easier victim. More than likely, he's gonna go down the street looking for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? That he can actually prey upon. The cops came. I talked to him, gave him the description again, let him know what's up, and they went off to do their thing. They may or not find that guy, but in our particular situation, all our stuff was kept. Both of us were safe. Why? Because we were capable of defending ourselves. We're always aware of our surroundings. We made him somebody else's problem. Now, that's sad in a way because I couldn't isolate the threat. I wasn't going to beat this guy up. He wasn't actually physically assaulting me. He never really did close into a range where I felt I needed to actually physically defend myself. One could argue I should have done something before he left and retained him, but that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to protect the immediate people around me. I don't know if he's got needles in his pockets. I'm not trying to get stabbed. I cut my hand if I am engaging in a fist fight with this guy. Maybe he's got HIV, whatever. I have to think about all these things in my own personal life. I have to protect myself and my immediate community. So now he's somebody else's problem. So I say all this to say, this is a great advertisement for martial arts, right? Get into a self-defense art and train. You don't have to compete in it. You don't have to take it, to be everything you do in life. But to have that confidence, builds that confidence inside of us to make someone like that a threat down the road, not in your vicinity, right? Because in the end, it took law enforcement over 15 minutes to get to that place. We can't depend on them to save our lives. They can come afterwards. They may be able to come during the middle of it if they get there in time. But the reality is a lot of these situations you're going to have to handle on your own. And if you don't have the confidence, imagine that had been like a kid trying to go to school. Or just a mom walking with their kid. Or some lady out running. You know what I'm saying? Like in any situation, you got to be able to defend yourself. So I implore you. It's been my lifelong journey message to tell people to get into a martial art. Don't just take a seminar once. Get into the seminar, get moving, and then take continued education on how to properly defend yourself and de-escalate a situation. I never once lost control. I was able to de-escalate the guy. I was able to get my message across to him that it was not a good idea to engage with me. And then if had to, was prepared to defend myself, the people that I was with at the moment. He left and became someone else's problem. Be ready to take care of yourselves. Love you. Come down to Defensive Edge. We got you.